Flight boss, bitch. For sure. You're not listening to the mind of an Terry Smooth. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I really care I gotta do these motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're gonna talk about blood lineage, blood streams, and bloodlines, aka motherfucking blood types in this motherfucker. So people can get a clear understanding on motherfucking energy signatures and how important it is to kind of know your blood type, because to know your blood type can actually help you understand your actual spiritual family lineage, and it also can help you understand your spiritual personality. You know what I'm saying? And how your DNA is constructed in general. Because we're dealing with immune systems right here. So when we're talking about an immune system, this is correlated to your solar system. So for the most part, the way your solar system is ran is correlated to where you came from. And that's everything that got manifested out of your stream, out of your waters, aka your blood. So for the most part, what creates a bloodstream? Right? When you are a spirit, your spirit is no thing, no shape and form. So for the most part, when you have an imagination, have a temperament, that creates a temperature, aka heat, or a frame of future reference, or what could be a potential, aka an imagination, aka a flame, a fire. Now, once your spirit go into that shit to be aware of itself, you could call that light a Lucifer or whatever like that. Once it go into that shit to be aware of itself, it hones in on that fire, and that fire becomes a world, aka it cools down, and that becomes your water. So that water becomes your bloodstream. Because that's how your plasma gets created. That's how stars get created. And it's almost like your hydrogen creating your helium at its first state. So you're creating your first light body for yourself. So it's like your water. So that creates your first bloodstream. Now, you are in a space and a location, aka you're relative and rotating around a group of other spaces, aka spirits. Your spirit is your space. No thing, no shape and form. Just your signature before you created your energy, which what I just explained. Your fire, then your water, hone in on it. Now, if you with a group of other spirits, spaces that's doing that also, all y'all gonna have similar ideas, similar imaginations, because y'all going through the similar astral travel, aka similar experiences. So y'all gonna have similar ideas. So for the most part, this is what creates bloodlines, because your bloodstream connected to somebody else's next to you bloodstream creates a bloodline. Now that creates not only one current, but two currents together creates not only two seas, it creates an ocean. It creates a whole body of water. So it creates a body of spirits that created a shape and form to come into, to travel through a realm of reality. So that's what creates bloodlines and bloodstreams. This is why you can share blood physically with family members down here, but that may not be spiritually your soul group, aka your spiritual bloodline, your spiritual first fluid line. You see what I'm saying? And y'all all shared the same line of events. So when y'all got separated due to the seas and the waters that y'all came into the realm of reality of, this chakra that y'all call Gaia, when y'all all separated, y'all all shared experiences with other spirits, aka that may came from other spaces. So you may develop blood, aka sharing the same blood, or sharing the same location, or sharing the same language or theology with a group of people, aka location wise, but that might not necessarily mean you came here with your same soul group. Y'all just shared similar experiences with some other spirits that got other soul groups. This is why you in a location amongst people who got different ideas, and this is why you're in a family, but all y'all ain't got the same blood types. You see what I'm saying? So this is what you actually need to understand. Now we're going to get deep into this shit, because before we even get deep into this, you're going to need to understand the RH factor, and you're going to need to understand antigens and antibodies. You see what I'm saying? Because I don't want anybody out here getting lost and all this type of stuff when they start to listen to too much scientific information about this. You know what I'm saying? Now, for the most part, my blood type is zero negative. You see what I'm saying? So zero. We're gonna get into understanding why it's correlated to your spiritual natures and your spiritual personalities. Also, you know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be so my blood type is zero negative. So it's important to know your blood type. That throughout this video, that's what you're going to need to understand. You see what I'm saying? Now, you're going to need to understand the RH factor and antigens and antibodies. Now, before we even get into that, to have a clear understanding of those things, let's talk about negative and positive when you hear these terms. Negative is always going to be correlated to the feminine energy. So that's always going to be backed and supported by something being naked, aka something having no body. There's that key word again, the no. Y'all need to understand the energy signature behind no. Knowing, knowledge, no ledge, and no body, and having nothing, no thing, no shape and form. That's what your spirit like to resonate with, because that's what your spirit actually is and what it actually likes to do. You see what I'm saying? So when we talk about negative, that's always going to be correlated to the feminine energy or something being negative, naked and having no body. Now, when we talk about positive, positive is always going to be correlated to masculine. So that's always going to be the second coming, a shape and form, something with the body. You see what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. A light, a gas, or whatever. Now, let's get into the RH factor. You see what I'm saying? Now, the RH factor is not as deep as everybody trying to make it out to be, but it gets developed into these things that people explaining it to be because of this actual, what I'm about to explain right now. Now, for the most part, like I said, as all spirits, is no thing. So we're all traveling from locations. Now, for the most part, the RH factor. Now, if you RH negative, this means that you don't have it. RH positive mean that you do have it. Now, what is this actually what you mean that you have? Now, as spirits, we're traveling here, right? Now, I just explained to you how we're creating chakras. We're creating that fire, then that water, which created a stream, how I just explained. Now, you have a group of spirits that came here from a space and a location that had a lot of nitrogen in it. You see what I'm saying? So this where the RH factor came from. The group of spirits that came to this space, this body, this person we live in, that we're in right now, this space, this constellation that we're in right now, you have a group of spirits that traveled here, and where they came from an area that had a bunch of nitrogen there. Remember, it's realms of realities that's just pure hydrogen and oxygen to create your chakra, to create your light, to create your you see what I'm saying? To create your vessel to go into the shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable realm of reality that y'all call the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, right? So the RH. So when you RH negative, that means that you are from the group of spirits that came here from pure space. That space was just hydrogen and helium. It wasn't no nitrogen in that space. So you came from a space that wasn't no nitrogen in. Now, if you RH positive, right? That's a form, that's a shape. So that's something you're carrying on your spirit. So y'all traveled here with some other technology. Y'all traveled here with some other shit. But as Archangel Uriel, I'm telling you, as elemental wise, from the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional aspect, y'all came from a space that had not only hydrogen and oxygen in it, but it had nitrogen mixed with it. So it wasn't pure. As far as, even though hydrogen and helium ain't, and I keep saying oxygen, I meant to say helium, it's not actually pure, but as far as this body that we're in, you can say that nitrogen is an add-on. So it's an extra body, it's an extra shape and form, it's an extra stream. So with this nitrogen, with these group of spirits that came here with nitrogen added to their helium and hydrogen, with the nitrogen added to it, the nitrogen developed a protein. Now, this protein creates more development of, in this realm of reality, what y'all perceive as hair or perceive, but is this an extra shape and form, aka another shape, another technology, or another experience that these spirits have experienced, that the negative experience didn't experience. You know what I'm saying? The negative spirits, the RH negative spirits, which is the stream that they came from, lacked experiences of something. So they didn't come here with something added on to them, whether it was an idea, conscious level, or development, aka a conscious light body. You went through an experience and had an expansion and contraction where you had an idea, and now you got something to sustain yourself through that astral travel. No, you're more naked. You don't have that RH factor, so you don't have that extra nitrogen that develop protein onto your hydrogen and helium. You see what I'm saying? So you don't have this extra gene or this extra element to you as far as a spirit when you came here with your hydrogen and helium. You got nitrogen added to your shit also in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional aspect, which develop a protein in the third dimensional aspect when you start to develop your bloodstream here. So you got just an extra element to you. You're not, so for the most part, RH negatives is like naked to the world, naked to everything that they're receiving in this realm of reality. So the vessels that they do develop to go into to experience themselves in this realm of reality as spirits, as persons, they're more open to all the influences of the whole universe, of the whole surroundings. They don't have no shape and form that they came here with, aka no glasses, no goggles, no protection. So they're not blinded by certain things. And then the RH positive, y'all came here with some extra protein that y'all got from the nitrogen that y'all was traveling through as spirits. So when y'all came here, y'all got some extra other shit. So you know what I'm saying? So the zero, so the positive O bloodline, you know what I'm saying, y'all are still open to the world also, and y'all came here first also. So the zero blood type was here in this space first. Negative didn't come here with the nitrogen protein. The positive did come here. So both of you, so the positive would be like the masculine figures here, and the negative would be like the feminine figures here. You see what I'm saying? The feminine shapes and forms here. Now when we get into the now we got to get into antigens and antibodies. Antibodies. Now antigens is foreign. So it's foreign substances. So it came here after the fact. So you can say antigens is the Anunnakis. Remind you, Anunnakis wasn't already here. You came after the fact. If you're walking amongst this earth now, so you came after the fact. So yeah, the Anunnaki was here before you, but you need to remember, all stories that's talking about the Anunnaki was trying to explain to you that this is a place that they came to, not a place that they was already here. So they was the first bloodstream, or the first aliens, or the first foreign motherfuckers to come to affect the bloodstream here, the original motherfuckers here. So this is the first affection. This is the first engineered motherfuckers coming here. The first different motherfuckers, the first foreign motherfuckers that come switch this shit around. AKA, they came from a different water stream, quote unquote bloodstream, came to this one and started mixing the current around, started causing friction, and the mixing mingling with shit, and it came a development of other shit, which why you got you today. You know what I'm saying? So here's where we start to talk about antigens. Antigens are what you could say the spirits of the Anunnakis that came here. And if you got a bloodline of A, then you're carrying Anunnaki spirits and or Asian spirit, or the spirits of people who came here into the snake bodies first. You know what I'm saying? So you're not as naked. You came here after the fact. So you already came with previous spaceships and shit like that, and nobody really know where you came from, but you already came engineered, because you was already something. You already done boxed yourself out. So you ain't freshly here. So for the most part, this is where you get antigens. And when you get the blood type A and B. Because, like I said, when we talk about A, this would be masculine, and when we talk about B, this would be feminine. So once you got physical shapes and forms already here, they already after the fact, so they all masculine by default. But then there's always a masculine and feminine to every nature. There's always a yin and yang. That's why you got you and you got females. You got males and females. So for the most part, you got male and females Anunnakis, A and B blood cells, A and B blood types, I meant to say. See what I'm saying? So y'all foreign. A and B blood types are foreign. You know what I'm saying? This is the Anunnaki. Now, if you are negative, right, this means you don't got the protein or the nitrogen. You still you come from the family lineage of the motherfuckers that was here first, or you affected this area from an area that you don't carry the masculine version of where you come from. Which will be, y'all probably won't call it nitrogen or protein, y'all probably call it something else, but it's still masculine. Something that came after the fact that y'all have attached to yourselves. And, that could play out as parasitic depending on what realm of reality you go into, right? And then, here's where you get the blood type AB, right? AB comes from where you get the first sex of the Anunnaki. So here's when they first came to this realm of reality and start mingling amongst each other. So you got the masculine and the feminine ones that came here, and then they start mingling amongst each other, and then now there's A and B. Now when we get to antibodies, this is what you need to know about antibodies, right? Antibodies is not something that you have. So this is what you need to understand. So when you hear terms like, a scientist may say something like, you have A antibodies, depending on your blood type, or you got B antibodies. Antibodies is this a term to describe whatever your blood is doing to defect or fight against whatever you're receiving from external references. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, if it was a new race to come with a new blood type and say that you had sex with them, or you swapped their spit or something like that, or you shared their blood or something like that, and say your blood came up with a system to fight against them, then scientists will call that, you got anti that blood too. You got anti that blood cell too. You know what I'm saying? Antibody. But see, it means no, it means what you don't have. So anti is not something you have. Anti is something that your spirit creates. So for the most part, when your spirit don't have no body, your spirit creates a body to sustain itself through that astral travel. You know what I'm saying? Because the spirit is too naked. So the spirit has to create a shape and form to go into as a vessel to sustain itself. So for the most part, this is what you would call an antibody. So when you're naked, you develop a system to block yourself, whether that's an idea, a conviction, a feeling and emotion, in order to block what's coming externally. For an example, say you got somebody who's constantly coming into your life and trying to change things around. You develop an idea about them, a feeling and emotion, a sense of conviction, so they can't get that close to you again and to redirect your directions. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. That's like you created an antibody. You created something to deflect that thing that's receiving to you. So it's something that's anti that thing that you don't want to keep receiving into your body. You see what I'm saying? So that's what an antibody is. It's not something you have. It's something that you develop. So think about antibodies as your spiritual nature. It's something that you're already spiritually wise and you need to do. It's a system that you create spiritually as light bodies to deflect what you're receiving from the external realm and from any affection or parasites. So that's what an antibody is. So when we talk about when you got the Anunnaki blood, you're A or B. Say you A and B blood type. This means that you're the mixing and mingling. So you can receive blood from everybody. You see what I'm saying? You can receive blood from every goddamn body. Now, say if you're blood type 0, right? Your blood is pure. You're no mixing and mingling. You don't have nothing, no foreign substances here. You don't have no foreign substances here. And especially if you, like me, if you're 0 negative, you definitely don't have, you don't even have the nitrogen here with you. So it's important for you to be careful who you having sex with. AKA, don't even, if you a blood type 0 negative, it's important for you not to even share ideas. Don't even share spaces with people because you'll start to feel it. You know what I'm saying? You'll start to feel. So it's important for you not to even share spaces. Ideas, don't share feelings and emotions because it'll affect you in a way that that's deeper than anybody else, because the beginning of creation of a bloodstream is your imagination. And if you are a blood type 0 negative and you're sharing an imagination with someone, you're actually mixing, mingling your blood. You're having sex in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. And sex is nothing more, nothing less but the joining of two energies to create another energy. And that's like mixing, mingling. So once you join in imaginations, you can get affected. Your imagination and things that you're manifesting in your life can truly get affected in more detriment ways than anybody else if you're a blood type negative 0. So you need to keep that in mind. But you're truly open to all access of the world, but you can't receive. So you can help the whole world, but the whole world can't help you. So your blood can go through can go to everybody, but everybody blood can't go to you. So that go through forms of information, that go through forms of things that you're eating. This is why I have a hernia, and this is why I'm blind in the left eye. Like I'm super blind in the left eye, and I got a motherfucking hernia, which created which creates me to have bowel obstructions. So I constantly develop ulcers throughout the year and things of that nature, and be sick for 2 weeks out of every month, like near death and shit like that. So I have to be careful what the fuck I eat. I can't even eat nothing. I just drink fluids. But if I'm going to eat, I make sure that it's probably like soluble things, like or just junk food or fish or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And very light. My meals have to be very, very light, and once a week. F that, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't jump into a routine this past year and a half that I didn't got so used to lemon juice and cranberry juice. I kind of did lost the habit, the taste. But you know what I'm saying? All energy signatures. If you got the nitrogen protein, this means you're a little bit more sheltered, but you still can receive things from the world. But you just have a technology about it. So everything you're receiving from the external world with the RH factor, you add a technology thing with it. So it's more like you have this extra thing with you. You see what I'm saying? So you more technical, but a lot of times that technicality or that protein could be parasitic to things that's pure. Now, when I say that, I don't want people to jump into negative and jump into racism. Like I said, I'm not in that realm of reality. I'm on something. All blood types is an affection in some type of way. If you ain't got 0 in general, you affected from some foreign shit. You foreign, period. And when we talk about you're not just all space. You some shit from coming from some other shit, some other spirits and some shit. So everybody needs to know that. But whenever you got to add on, that's information. So you could be more intelligent when you have A, B, and less gullible and less naive when you have an A bloodline or a B bloodline, or even when you're positive RH. You know what I'm saying? You could be less naive to the things of the world. Now, being super less naive, a lot of times you could be unreceptive to the right brain energies of things. Remind you, the negative or the B or the negative of the energies, the feminists, come from the right. You see what I'm saying? And when we talk about what's coming from the left spaces, it's the positive, and it's the positive RH and the RH factor and things of that nature. That's coming from spirits that came from the left. Spirits that came who don't got the RH factor is spirits that came from the right. So they came from more nakedness energy. Spirits that came from the left came from the light. So they came from more of that RH, the nitrogen and shit like that. Shit that was already created after the fact. And we are creators as spirits, but we you know what I'm saying, we are creators, but we just got a lot of creations that we get lost in. You see what I'm saying? And since nitrogen is one of the lightest ones, that still don't take no effect in the third dimension. So even if you are a 0 but RH positive, you still more pure than a person who got AB. Because a person who got AB, they are more Anunnaki. Now Anunnaki got a lot of information. You know what I'm saying? So these people are very wise and know how to technically bring things and put it into words, because the Anunnaki and shit like that created the language and the Elohim here. You know what I'm saying? And just specific space and location, and developed this person's body. You wouldn't even have all these lumps of blood clots, aka skins and plasmas and shit like that, without the Anunnaki and the reptilians and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, this is developing, they help you develop the body, have logic and rationality to take the shit, the roundness, and create shape and form around the roundness, the 360 of the right brain. You know what I'm saying? So, but the you know, just the bloodlines in general, you know what I'm saying, this is just your true spiritual family. So it don't matter what race you come down here in, you really your family with your bloodstream, your bloodline. You know what I'm saying? Like my actual family in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension is 0 negative. My mother and my father both got 0 negative blood too. You know what I'm saying? So and then that's, so you need to understand the bloodlines. Like, there's some other bloodlines out here too, but bloodlines just means what space and location you came from before you came into this being. So say this being is the light bearer constellation. It's a person, right? So this person already has its own blood, right? Now, for the most part, 0 is universal. So everybody gonna have a little bit of 0. Same way this being that we live in has a little bit of 0. So for the most part, that 0 is always gonna be an energy signature that you could gonna attach to. So all the blood cells that came here that attach to the 0 blood cell is coming from the 0 spectrum, period. And they can either come from the left hemisphere of the universe, they the ones who developed the nitrogen and shit, or they could come from the right hemisphere. They ain't had a nitrogen. They just got pure hydrogen and helium. As far as this area and level of water that we at in this frequency, it's many different universes, but this is just for this video for us. Well, for y'all, not me. But for the most part, yeah. Right? Now, for the most part, when we come here as spirits, we just traveling based upon a location. So 0 came here was overall, even this being that we live in, 0, it got his blood from somewhere too. It's water stream, it's vibrations from somewhere too. So the universal blood of the truest beings is always going to be 0. So everything has a little bit of 0. Even people who got AB blood types and you still got 0, because you have the antibodies. Antibodies is developed from the 0 space of circumference, period. It's related to that energy signature. So you need to understand that. AB and all that shit, and then plus all that shit, like what y'all call positive, all that is affections from the universal stream. So you look at the universal stream as just a universal water. And shit get developed in this water. You ever had a cup of water that you sat on the table for a long time and you start to see parasites develop? Look at that like things coming in as foreign. So that'd be AB and positive and shit that y'all call positive and shit like that. Masculine shit. Shapes and forms that came after the fact. Now, so look at the 0 period as the overall stream. And look at positive period as something, the first affection, the first second coming in that stream. So it's still pure, but it's just the first affection. So in the 7th, 8th, and 9th dimension, it's the first impurity, but every dimension under that is still pure compared to y'all. You get what I'm trying to say? The lesser the dimension, the more things, shapes, and forms. The more y'all can count to billion. Now, as spirits, you got certain spirits that travel from that space, and those are going to be the spirits that come from that got the zero. It's just straight zero, nothing added. Now you got offspring spirits that got developed from the sex of those first spirits, and those get spirits that get developed and then got separated in the 4th, 5th, or 6th dimension and came from, and then they have families and families and families, and all the way down till we get to the 1, 2, and 3 dimension. Boom, you get those offsprings. So when they came here, they will be called like Anunnakis and things of that nature. So these are spirits that took shapes and forms from other constellations and shit like that, as already Elohims and Anunnakis and shit like that. But for the most part, the blood type 0 came straight from the 7th, 8th, and 9th dimension and was dealing with the first impurity, negative and positive. Get what I'm saying? So for the most part, that's what that means. It came from the first blood stream, the first water stream, the first stream of consciousness, the first stream of events, the line of events, the first experiences that happened. You know what I'm saying? Before there was other current events that manifested to y'all having current events today, to have bodies to be in to experience them. See what I'm saying? You get it? So don't get lost how many humans like to do. See what I'm saying? Because they get that, they start to do, and that creates hue, different colors, different vibrations, aka different directions you could go in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. So y'all could go and look at my videos, and I'm gonna do another video about women are walking vibrations, and I'm also gonna do another video about how to move in the yin realm, how to move in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. Right? Same way you got directions in the yang realm, the external realm, things where things could be non-physical to physical, the external, the energy realm, where things could be solid, the yang realm. Right? I'm going to explain that whole process of how that actually motherfucker gets manifested from the yin realm. See what I'm saying? So yeah, flight boss bitch, you know, for sure. And we lit in this motherfucker. But yeah, that's motherfucker blood types for your motherfucking ass. God damn it.